So, welcome to the Natural Balance Masterclass. This is Monday, the 27th. Today is a full moon day. And I'm here, present, and I just want to invite you, Annette. You're here also, and let's just close our eyes and take some breaths together. So we'll just start with a deep inhale. Let it all go. Another deep inhale. Let it all go. Deep inhale. Let it all go. Just feel the presence of right now. Feel the presence of your heart. Feel the presence of my heart. Feel the love that's available. And let's just be for a moment. And then as you feel called to open your eyes, I'm just going to open up for sharing right now. Do you have anything you want to share, Annette?
Um, just happy to be here with you. Connecting with you at where we're at together. It's different with other people that aren't doing the work, and I just appreciate you doing what you're doing to connect. I don't want to say a higher or another level, but yeah, I can't explain it, but it's just nice. It's just very nice, and I appreciate you, Neal, what you're doing.
I'll receive it. So today we literally had a conversation at the breakfast table that went till 11:30, like all the way till like lunch. And the conversation was about um, this communication about being beyond the body and like what's actually there. And John was communicating about the void space, which is the seed, and it's the nothingness. It's the pure potentiality, but like nothing exists there. It's just potential. Um, like there's nothing created in the void. It's just nothingness. And in John's experience, it was black. Uh, so just like complete void. So that was an aspect of the conversation. And then Uh, he also spoke to then the tree of life, which is the fullness, which would be the everything. It's like once everything's now created, then that's now the tree of life, in which all things exist simultaneously, infinitely, and yeah, it's the everything. So from the seed comes the tree of life, and then from the tree of life are all the branches are each of us as branches or leaves or even bark or even the fluid flowing in the tree. We're all aspects of that body of the tree of life. And I was asking, like I was very involved in this conversation because I was curious because what I distinguished for myself was like when I came here to Earth Waking to actually live, I was very much like in a seed state. And I thought I was like done. I thought that was it. I was at the void. I didn't have much thoughts in my head. Like I was in the nothing and I was like, oh, this is it. Like I can die now. But then I didn't die. And so I was still here. So I knew that there was something more. And that more is when I now actually become a branch of the tree of life. It's when I now go from the void to actually being something and expressing that being, expressing that branch or that leaf, whatever it may be, and actually be a contribution to the whole tree while knowing I am the tree, but expressing as the branch also. So that's where I'm at now. And during that conversation, I thought that I went to the seed and then I experienced the tree of life and then I went to the seed again. And what I'm now sitting in the inquiry of is I feel my journey has been, my intuition's telling me that I went to the tree of life first. Like I saw the everything. And then from the everything went to the void, the seed, and then from the seed, from the void, I'm now a branch. And so that's my intuition is telling me that's how my journey has been currently, but I don't know the entire accuracy of that. But the conversation today was literally stemming around this idea of the different spaces that are beyond the body. And they're accessible in the body, but they're not accessible when we think we are the body because it requires us letting go of the body to actually experience those other states. Uh, and a lot of this is, and the this that I'm talking about are these spaces beyond the body. And these spaces, what we identify with in these spaces, and even now bringing the physicality, bringing the body into it, and even the ego, which is the body may be included in the ego, but the ego is just this other, literally, I feel it's an entirely made up aspect just in our brains. Uh, and when we identify with any aspect, be that the ego, be that the body, be that the seed, like literally identifying as a seed, literally identifying as everything, like depending on what we identify as affects how we operate in our conversations, in situations in the world, uh, on our day to day, just like simple actions, like literally the action of brushing your teeth. Like, depending on what you identify as, it'll be important or not important. For example, if you identify purely as the body, and that when the body dies, like you die, then like the brushing of the teeth is like it's like essential because if you don't brush your teeth, you need your teeth to eat food, and if you don't eat food, you die because you're identified as the body. But if you identify as like this, as the tree of life, as everything, you have a knowing that you're this body and you're all the fluids and all the organs in it, and you're all the other bodies, and you're all the plants, and you're the earth, and you're the trees, and you're the nature. If you identify as being all of that, the brushing of the teeth starts to look really ridiculous. And it's like, why even do this little task, this minute, tiny detail? Because I'm like, I'm all of this. And if I die, I'm just opened up. I'm just in the truth of everything because I'm identified as that. And uh like I know that I'm way more than just this body. So the needs of this body start to become less important. Uh, so in the duration of this class, how this is gonna end tonight is we're going to identify and embody a way of being that we would love to see and experience fully expressed in the world. So it's and how we're gonna navigate to that way of being is by changing our identity, and by changing our identity, we choose an identity that has cultivated a way of being that we choose to embody, and then we literally change our identity to be that, and as a byproduct, we begin to express as that. So, do you got a pen and paper in that?
I do. 1 second.
Amazing.
Romeo. Hush. Hush. Came in the meeting. It's Romeo.
Yes, this conversation it's like I'm personally invested in it because I recognize the relevance of it in my life, and like it's conversations like having the conversation about the seed and the tree of life and the branch. It's these conversations that often aren't spoken to in society at large. And there's another aspect to this where these are all perspectives to operate from. And like one perspective would be when you identify as the fullness, the tree of life, you could be in your body and look through like your left eye, and you could say, all right, like I'm like the dirt, I'm like a worm that's so tiny, like I'm like a blip, I'm so small in the grand scheme of things. That's one eye. You could look out of your left eye and see that. You could also look out of your right eye and you could see that I'm a queen, I'm a king, I'm a powerful being. Like I know I'm all of this the other stuff, but I also know that because of that I'm great. Like I'm all of it, and I'm embodied in the form of a queen or a king. So now there's these two perspectives that are literally different from each other, one being a worm and one being a king, and we're both of that if we identify as the tree of life. And that's where this third perspective comes in through the third eye, where we see um, that's actually how we experience the tree of life, because these two eyes are in duality. So there's the warm, there's the king, there's the black, there's the white. There's it's all duality. There's man, there's woman. Looking from these eyes, there's good, bad, but then we access the third eye to transcend both perspectives and see a third perspective, which is that hey, we're actually both the warm and the king. We're both the dark and the light. We're both the man, well, not man, masculine and the feminine, because they're energies. Uh, so then this Trinity is the Holy Trinity. It's the two perspectives and then a third higher perspective. And it's also a triangle. Uh, so so there's that. And now the reason for your pen and paper is let's write 5 things, and I'm gonna do this as well, and we'll just take like 2 minutes for this. Something that I don't love in my life right now. These can be actions, these can be ways of being, these can be situations, just something that you don't love in your life right now. And 5 things. And we'll start right now. got five? All right. I got four. I got one more. All right. We're just gonna leave those there, and we'll come back to them. And we're gonna use them as a reference. So now, what are five things that I do love in my life right now, and I would love to see an abundance of? And this is gonna be a separate list, and we'll go for 2 minutes. Go. All right. So the 2 minutes are up. Where are you at on your five things that you do love in your life?
Three. Um, I'll make it simple. I just moved, Neil, so this is really it's really pretty simple, really. The basics. I'm thankful, grateful for having the basics. Um,
Yes.
yeah, everything's kind of up in the air, so it's going to be simple.
Epic.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
All right. Um, and just like the things we don't love, the things we do love, they're just gonna be there. We're gonna reference them, but we don't need them at this current moment. So now I'm gonna ask the question, um, what does my soul want to accomplish? And invite you to ask the same question, and then we'll write three things for this. This can be as simple or as grandiose as you want to make it. All right, I got three. I'm gonna share mine, and I'm gonna invite you to do the same. I feel a lot of inspiration around this, and I'm going like grandiose because what I'm sharing is like literally what I'm here to express on Earth. So the first one is world peace and celebration. The second one is to heal 11 million people through natural balance. And the third one is live entirely regenerative in community, in harmony with nature, in an earth waking village. So
I
those
love that.
those are my three. What are yours, or do you want to
Um,
share?
Sorry, Neal. Um, I want to assist and serve people in waking up easier and gentler than I had. Create a heaven on earth with like-minded people. Write a book, a podcast, a website. Make lots of money for the kingdom. That was four, I think.
Amazing. All right. So now that we know what our soul wants in this present moment, that can change in the next 5 minutes.
Celebrate.
So from this space, um, let's look at a person that's outside of you that just has this way that they are that we aspire to. We're like, wow, if I could be like that, I would love to be in that person's body and express myself in the way of being that that person expresses. And if we could have any way of being and being any body that we wanted to, um, what is one way of being that you would love to see and experience fully expressed in the world? And this is just one. And like the others, simple or grandiose, you choose.
Neal, can I ask, what other person would you rather be in their body? We're asking that.
Another
Oh,
person, but more so the way of being that that person embodies.
okay, okay, that's okay.
It's not so much about the person that's like, wow, I would love to be like that,
Okay.
to show up like that. Wow. Wow, that I was not expecting what came out, but all right. Um, what I wrote was a confident healing facilitator. Uh, so do you want to share what you wrote or?
Yeah, it was kind of a combination of two. One woman I've always kind of admired was Oprah Winfrey, how she is, and how she communicates, and how she brings people together. And there's a Till Swan. She's a kind of a life coach, basically. So it's kind of those two came up, kind of a combination of those two.
Uh, so I hear a lot of focus on the person. Like what about Oprah? While you spoke with Oprah Winfrey, it was about her communication. So it was
Hmm.
like how does she communicate? Is it like confident? Is it
Oh,
what
she's
is it?
confident. She's calm. She's neutral. Wants to get both sides of the story. Um, she doesn't. She's not offensive, but she stands up for herself. I mean, she doesn't get railroaded either. She has a way of handling people in a loving way. You know, she has balance. She seems very balanced and loving at the same time, even though she may not agree with something. You can tell she's not really judging it. She's not accepting it. She just knows they don't know what they don't know, you know?
Yes.
That part of it, she's very, very intelligent, confident, and she doesn't um, she's not offending people. People get offended because they just don't know. I mean, she's interviewed like the KKK. I seen that interview. Can you imagine? And the stuff they said to her
No.
and how she responded. She was so elegant, so classy, so sure of herself, but wasn't being cocky and wasn't reacting to their defensive, very demeaning remarks to her. But because I don't know if I should use the word ignorant or just wounded or just traumatized, whatever it is, you know, she didn't take that personally. She was trying to learn from their angle, their mindset, why they think the way they think, how did they get there? And she kind of went to the back door trying to have them look at it from her perspective as African American and have them learn something without realizing they were being taught something. Kind of like John says, the 6 and the 9 perspective. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The Steel Swan, she's kind of new. This kind of popped up my Facebook, kind of like John did. And she's kind of
I'm
new, but she's,
familiar with her.
huh?
I'm
I'm
familiar
sorry.
with her.
Oh, you are? Okay, I'm kind of new with
Yes.
her. Yeah. And I'm really drawn to her uh, as well. Yeah. I'm learning about her, but I like her style as well. She's very confident and uh, she can say things without being too obtrusive or offensive. But people will get offended, I'm sure. But the way she does it, kind of like Oprah, the combination of the two. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Amazing. So just a couple of like ways of being that I wrote from when you shared were like confident, calm, neutral, loving, balanced. That's what I wrote.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and the way they communicate and get to the point, like you just did, to
Hmm.
come more like that, what you just did. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and there's also a dynamic here where you're in a feminine body and I'm in a masculine body, so you're more flowy when your communication just naturally, and I'm more to the point naturally.
Mm. Mm.
uh I can be flowy, and I'm speaking to that dynamic that's also here present with, so when there's a man body and a feminine body, there's flow and structure present, which is a recipe for miracles.
I love that.
And
Yeah, I love that.
well, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And so from the space where we're at now, I want to ask a question, and I'm going to answer the question, and I would love for you to feel into it. And it's the relevance, like, what is the relevance of our identity? And like, when I ask myself that question, like, I think that we literally need an identity to operate in the world. And if we're identifyless, like if we don't identify with anything, we're basically saying that we're none of it and that we're the seed, we're the void, uh, which you can do, but what it's going to produce is the fruit of being the seed in the void. And so I feel like the relevance of our identity is that it gives us something to operate from. Like if we're the seed, where are we? What are we operating, or where are we going, or where have we been? Like there's nothing to operate from as the void. So I think that the relevance of our identity is it gives us something to operate from, and that's where I'm at with it. And I would love to hear like what your take is on it and how you see that.
It's a lot, Neil. I mean, some points of it I'm getting, and some I can't, and some I get but can't express. You know, identify. What do I identify with?
Well, the question is, what's the relevance of our identity? So, like, why do we even identify with anything? Like, what's and my answer to that is because it's how we operate from something. But yeah, my question is like, what's the relevance of our identity? Why do we need it?
What's the relevance of our identity?
Right.
So identity is that your ego? I mean, you have a body and you're playing this part. Yeah. What's the relevance of it? Life. Come here to have life, to do something. Some just this is just what I don't know, Neil. What's the relevance? If I'd rather be back home. I don't know. Now I got I'm trying
Home
to figure
being
it out, Neil.
home being the tree of life, or where?
Yeah.
Yes.
Back up in the universe.
Yes.
I had that experience. That's the only thing I can refer back to. And I think sometimes the resistance to re-experiencing that through meditation and stuff because I did want to come back.
Yeah, it's the thing that I spoke to in the beginning, like when being at the void, like, all right, I'm done. I'm ready to die,
Yeah.
and I'm
See, I
still fucking here.
yeah, you experience the void. I think
The seed.
in some way I did, but and then the out of body, it wasn't the void. It was the love. You said that there's oneness over that. And the experience of being one in everything. I have not experienced that. So, um, being back here on planet Earth, the question is, what's the point of our identity? Because,
That's the question.
like you said, if but now I know I got a mission. I got something to do here. You know, uh, to assist other people to create heaven on earth. I mean, this is the most amazing time in history right now. What's going on?
Yes.
Obviously, it's prophesied through not just Christianity, but a lot of belief systems.
Like
What's happening.
Native American traditions prophesize this time to a large extent.
Yeah, a lot of belief systems. They have their story of what's going on. I'm not an
Correct.
expert in any of it. I know more about the Christian part, but I'm not an expert at that either. But and supposedly this is a 26,000 year cycle or something. And my identity. Would you say identity is ego?
No, you said that, but I do I think that's the truth. I think that's accurate. But
we
my
we need
question,
it to survive, right? We need to. We
right?
got this body. We're not our body, not our mind. We are the source and awareness. Now I know I'm of that, but I do have this body, so I need to use it for something since I'm here. Since I couldn't stay home, I got to see him back. So, am I doing okay, Neil?
Like so perfect in that. Holy shit.
I don't have all these fancy words for it.
Yeah,
I just
well
got my story here.
the amazing thing is the truth doesn't need fancy words. What it's the truth is like you just speak it. And it's
Yeah,
sometimes the truth isn't any words. It's just like emanating love and then that being felt.
Mm.
Uh, so like, I'm still in the question of the relevance of our identity. Like I resonate, and my intuition tells me it gives us something to operate from. But like, I feel there's also depth to go there. So I'm gonna keep that question as a reference point, but we're gonna go on, and
Neal,
I'm gonna
I don't mean to interrupt you, but did you answer the
go for
question
it.
already?
I did, yes, a couple times, and
Okay.
what
I'm
I
not
what
getting
I'm
I'm not getting it. Something's not clicking in my head.
right. Well, what I'm speaking to is I think that the identity is important because it gives us something to move from. Like, all right, I now identify as Neal, so I'm going to operate as Neal. Or I now identify as the tree of life, the wholeness, so I'm going to operate as all of it and use Neal's body to do that. Or
Okay.
I'm gonna identify as being a a body movement facilitator, and then when I'm identified as that, I just be that, and I actually become a body movement facilitator. So I think that it gives us somewhere to operate from. Whereas if I wouldn't identify as being a body movement facilitator, I would just maybe I would be identified as being a person who, like, for example, waters the greenhouse. And then as a byproduct, I would actually be like watering the greenhouse, but not doing the body movement class because I'd only be identified with the watering of the greenhouse. So my answer is it gives us a ground to stand on to where we're like, here I am identified as this thing. Now I can operate. So now I want to ask a question. So if the identity gives us something to operate from, and I know there's depth to that, that's not the entirety of it, then what is the point of transcending our identity? And you're feeling into this, and I'm feeling into it. I'm going to speak while I'm feeling into it. And like, the point of transcending our identity is to have a new perspective. And that's what's coming up right now. And because of that new perspective, what we can do with it is use that new perspective to uh, literally create or possibly just take on an identity, and which will allow us to express a different way of being and produce different fruits in the world. So I think the point of transcending our identity is to see that it was an identity and then possibly choose a different one. That, like, hey, I actually wasn't what I thought I was, and I can actually be this thing that I aspire to. So do you have an answer to the question, what is the point of transcending our identity?
To allow others to see a different perspective of you and still allow them to be them, and you don't care and live fully and live joyfully and happily and lovingly and not worry, because that's the path I chose. That's the path I'm living. And that's just how it is, to transcend something that you never really were. My divine right. To transcend into my true beingness, realness, and focusing and not worrying and being in that moment, to be joyful and happy, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. That's the gift of coming here.
That's one of them. Um,
Yeah.
so wow, that was a lot. Like, wow, you shared deep. Um, because you shared how like we transcend our identity, and then we like others still see that identity, and they might judge it, but like we don't judge that they're judging, or we don't judge them. Like that's what I heard when you shared. Like they may see us still as that identity that we used to be, but if we don't judge them judging our old identity, and if we don't judge ourselves, like that's when we actually literally become something new, and we embody a new perspective. And this is the time for that. Like right now is the time to embody a new identity and a new perspective. And how we're going to do that is take 3 minutes and write a precise, uh, like very specific identity that embodies the way of being you would love to see and experience fully expressed in the world. So just have it be precise. This is an identity that um, you're going to embody. And because of identifying this, or because of embodying this identity, will have a way of being, such as like being confident, being loving, being balanced, that will accompany that identity. So we have 3 minutes starting right now. All right, we've got like 30 seconds. All right, time. I'm gonna share what I wrote. So my new identity that I would love to see expressed in the world is a faithful, balanced, and calm, regenerative permaculture master who is a calm healing facilitator. And I invite you to share yours as well.
I really don't understand what come through, but I'll read it. I don't. I will embody, embrace the circumference of the moon, and let others be okay with the results of who I am, knowing that I am okay with the end result. This is an analogy of being everything and knowing nothing. It gives you all you need to show others your openness and willingness to share your story with others so you can share like the moon and let others know you can to be the moon and do not shy away.
Okay.
I don't know, Neal.
Can you say it again? There's a lot in there. What I'm going for is to see if I can have it be precise. So I'm writing
Okay.
as you're reading.
Okay. I will embody and embrace the circumference of the moon and let others be okay with the result of who I am, knowing that I am okay with the end result. This is an analogy of being everything and knowing nothing. It gives you all you need to show others your openness and willingness to share your story with others so you can share like the moon, and let others know you can be the moon and do not shy away.
Okay. Can you read the beginning part again?
Isn't it? Didn't you say it was a full moon or something about the
It
moon
is,
earlier?
yes, this evening.
Okay, just hit me that this has the moon in it. I will embrace the circumference of the moon and let others be okay with the result of who I am, knowing that I am okay with the end result.
Okay, that's good right there.
Okay. I really don't know what it means.
All right. See how this feels in your intuition and your body. So, cosmic moon, so that's the name, a willing and a willing, open, and faithful way shower. And the faithful part is because you know it's going to turn out perfect in the end. How's that?
Yeah. I'm way sure from the stars.
Does that resonate?
Yeah, it does.
All
Yeah.
right. So what I'm going to do is now bring in I am and actually speak my new identity. And what I'm going to invite you to do also is to bring in the words I am and speak this new identity into existence. I don't know if you want to write what I just said or if you got it, or
Can
if
you
you
say
even
it? Can
want to
you
take,
say it one more time? I want to write it
or
down.
if you even want to take it on. Those are all important.
I would like to write down what you said.
All right, so I wrote Cosmic Moon, which is like a name, and then a willing, open, and faithful way shower.
The way show really resonated with me. Okay.
So I'm gonna speak mine. So I am faithful, balanced, and calm, regenerative permaculture master who is a calm healing facilitator.
I love that.
Now, if you feel called to take on a new identity, I invite you to bring in I am and speak it into existence.
I am a confident, balanced, neutral, unresistant, facilitator of beings from other galaxies.
Well, hi there, calm, confident facilitator of beings from other galaxies. What is one action step that a calm, confident facilitator and way shower of beings from other galaxies can take this week that will anchor in this new identity? This can be tiny, this can be cosmic. You decide.
I'm going to focus on my new home and get organized, get to work on writing a website, eventually a podcast.
Wow. Okay. Received. So organize a home and start a website and moving in the direction of a podcast. An action step that I'm going to take as a regenerative permaculture master who's a calm healing facilitator is to actually set up a natural balance ceremony. It's probably going to be like a month from now. I actually just did one last, today's Monday, last Friday. We had a mushroom circle ceremony with psilocybin mushrooms. And it's the sixth one that Natural Balance has presented. And some of the others were breathing techniques, Tao calligraphy, healing. So there were every single one has been different. And so my action step is to like schedule a ceremony for next month. And I don't know even what it looks like yet. I'm just sharing that that's my action. We're 3 minutes over time. I'm grounding into my new identity. Uh, it is new. Like this is not my ego's comfort zone. Uh, so I just want to open up one more time for anything you want to share in that, be it tonight, be it just about your life, or just be it about like how you're feeling right now, just anything.
Um, I want to say confused. That's my ego. I want to say I'm not sure what all this means or how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And I appreciate you, Neil. I mean, I could speak of these things coming through me without feeling odd.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. You want to share anything else?
I'm complete.
I feel complete. I love you, Annette. Thank you for
I
being
love you,
here.
Neil. Thank you. Is this your last meeting? Your
No,
last one?
these are going indefinitely now every Mondays. I've decided to keep it as an evergreen. So I'm literally gonna keep this going, and I'm gonna bring it. I've already brought it to the public. I posted about it on my Snapchat tonight. I'm sharing it on my YouTube channel. So this natural balance masterclass is now a reoccurring thing that's happening every Monday at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Um,
Thank
yeah,
you. I love
you're
you, Neil.
welcome. I love you, Annette. Peace.
Peace.